Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Cruise Corner, a brand new podcast series from Cruise Trade News, in which we attempt to arm you with the latest insights and product information to help you sell cruise holidays with confidence. I love an alliterative tagline. My name is Jack Carter, and I am the editor of Cruise Trade News magazine, and I'm delighted to say that I am joined by Adam Oldfield, CEO and founder of marketing automation platform Force24, and Cruise Trade News and World of Cruising's head of digital, Richard Seal. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
So as I said, the aim of this podcast, and well, everything we do at Cruise Trade News, is to empower travel agents and cruise line employees to grow their sales and attract new travelers to the sector. Well, a crucial part of doing that is marketing and reaching audiences on the platforms that they're engaging with most. And for many of us, that's email. So that's what we're going to focus on a little bit today. So before I come to you on this, Adam, I found some stats that illustrate exactly why email marketing is so important. And rather than just reel them off to you both, I thought it would be fun to put them both to you in the form of a pop quiz. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good, yeah.
Okay. Question 1. According to Statista, how many active email users are there in the world today? Is it A, 3.3 billion, B, 4.4 billion, or C, 5.5 billion?
Well, on the basis that I've got about 7 or 8 emails myself, and there's 6 billion people on the planet, I'm going to say that 5.5 seems like a conservative estimate to me.
Rich. So yeah, I'll go C. I think C.
Well, you're both wrong. It's 4.4 billion.
Surprising.
So next question. According to marketing expert Opt-in Monster, what percentage of people check their emails before any other platform as soon as they wake up? Is it A, 38%? Is it B, 48%? Or is it C, 58%?
Based on the fact that's exactly what I do when I wake up, I'm going to C, 58%.
I would probably agree, actually. I think it's probably the thing that it's like checking the mail at the doorstep, isn't it? It's you're not gonna you're gonna check it before you check LinkedIn or Facebook or anything like that in case something came in overnight. I'm gonna go with C. Yeah, C.
Okay, good guess. You're both correct. C, 58%. Okay, so final question. According to HubSpot, how many seconds per day do consumers spend on average reading brand emails? Is it A, 10 seconds? Is it B, 20 seconds? Or is it C, 30 seconds?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Well, I'm gonna vote here on your own psyche here. I think this is a shock stat. And I know that the average consumer receives between 120 and 150 emails every day. So I should imagine that the shock stat is the 10 seconds, so at A.
I'm going to say slightly longer. I'm going to go B, 20 seconds.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Adam, you're correct. It's A, 10 seconds.
Shock jock you.
Well, that last question's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, I mean, we know people's inboxes are full of noise from brands and marketers. So the really crucial thing for cruise lines and travel agents, or any brand for that matter, is how can they ensure that their email marketing cuts through all that noise? And that's kind of what you help brands do, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, your 3 questions are quite pertinent. Firstly, I can't remember, was it 4.4 billion email addresses? And that speaks to the challenge that a lot of brands have, which is too many. We've got hundreds of thousands potentially in our database. So which ones do we talk to? Then your point around the 10 seconds. Email is still the powerhouse of any commercial organization. Email is what delivers the messaging to say your meeting reminder, or you've booked this and here's your brochure, or whatever it is. Email is the powerhouse behind everything else. And so when used correctly, it's really, really important. Where it tends to fall down is where it's seen as just a pure top of the funnel strategy on its own. It's better used in conjunction with social, with paid, with everything as the follow-up and the reminder, which is where it gets really, really powerful.
And I guess what you're speaking about there is this idea of personalisation. It's about making sure that whenever an email lands in someone's inbox, however many people that email has been sent to, it feels like it has intention, it feels like it's speaking to them directly. Can you talk to me a bit about personalisation?
Yeah, so usually when we talk about personalisation, people immediately picture high first name, or somehow inserting a med cruise when somebody's looked at a med cruise. Which, of course, it is personalisation. It's just that's not the sum total of personalisation. So when we look at personalisation on the whole, we say even down to when not to send to somebody is personalisation. When to send to somebody is personalisation. Whether it's an email, a direct mail, an SMS, or a paid ad is personalisation. All of these things are part of, and then of course you've got the assets on the email, and that's based around personalisation. And one of the things that I would say that people and brands often do is, I remember when I was a kid, my granny used to make my favourite tea. Well, it was my favourite tea when I was 8. But when I was 18, still going around to her house, and she was giving us our favourite tea, which was, I can't even remember what it was now. It was, we've moved on, Granny. And so brands can actually start to hold that data too dearly and say, well, Jack, he's only interested in Med Cruises because he bought one from us in 1985, so we'll only ever talk to him about Med Cruises. And actually what you've missed out on there is the opportunity to go round the house, try different things based on where you might be today. So personalisation is lots of facets: when not to send, what to send, but also don't get stuck in personalisation and assume that because you did that one thing once, Granny's still making me the same sausage casserole 10 years later is my only thing that I'm interested in. So that's probably 2 questions. What's personalisation and what do people often get wrong about it? All wrapped up in one.
Well, it's good that you mentioned cruise there specifically because, Rich, we use Force24 World of Cruising, Cruise Trade News every single day. So why don't you talk to me about the nature of our partnership and how you use Adam's platform on behalf of our travel agents and cruise line partners to deliver those kind of personalised emails?
Yeah, I suppose since I've been at the business just over 2 years now, and the last couple of years have been working very closely with Force24, looking at our data, helping segment that data so we can, our users are getting what they want. So they're getting the content they want. They can go into the Mediterranean cruises if that's what they want to see. They can be in that segment. So we can personalise their journey within Force24. So we've started building out those segments. We also plug those segments into our social media campaigns. So we can create new audiences based on those that have engaged with that content that's been built out for the partners, and then create new audiences for other activity. Basically tie it into a full circle of segmenting that data, and building the right data moving forward.
So I guess sort of in the way that sort of email marketing has evolved and how personalization is now really key, when people think about the kind of emails that we send to people, especially in the cruise space, most people think it's about cruise deals and they're relating to new sales that are on offer. But actually, personalization allows us to be more expansive with the messaging and deliver those emails to people at different times or in a different stages of the booking journey. What can you talk to us a little bit about what are the kind of types of emails that we send and how the messaging can change from one email to the next?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, deals is a big part, so we have to focus on that on a lot of our emails, and even that we can break it down to the right deals going to the right people, what they actually want to receive. But when it comes to other types of content, we've got segments built out that we know people are more interested in, about understanding, learning, want to be sort of like told about the luxuries of a certain destination, and that's or whatever it is, or style, cruise style, that sort of thing, expedition, and it's those sort of segments which we've got built out, which we link into Force24, whether it's from the website, and who wants what. So we'll be able to send them an email regards to brochure content if that's what they're looking for. They want to work very well. Recently was for an ultra luxury partner of ours that wanted to get brochure engagement. They wanted people to sign up to receive their free brochure. So just sharing that type of content that gives them that understanding of the luxury side of things and the destinations that they cover. It's really engaging, and they had a fantastic response from it. So it was really good.
Well, segmentation is interesting. I'll come back to you on that a little bit later. But Adam, some of our listeners will be thinking, well, personalisation is all well and good, but I have a database of tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people. So how do I go about delivering an email to them that feels personal to them, that speaks to the exact point that they're at on their cruise booking journey? So how can brands go about making sure that they can deliver that personability to all those people?
Yeah, okay. It's a big question. So there's a few components to that. And remember, I said deciding when not to send is also an element of personalisation. So if you've got a database that is literally just some sort of booking information, first name, last name, email address, and address. That's what we call explicit segmentation, right? So that's we know that you are explicitly in that location, or you've explicitly done this. Whereas there's a whole form of segmentation called implicit, which is actually where the real value lives. So I'll explain that to you. So imagine, and the analogy that I always use is the restaurant analogy. And so if you walk into my restaurant and I'm stood at the door of the restaurant as the maitre d' or the waiter, and what question do you want me to ask you as the visitor to my restaurant? It'd be, do you want a table? Right, and we've done this, but we've done this before at a live event. But would you want a table? And at that point, that question's got a 100% chance of success. Now I go and take you and I sit you down at the table, and now you want me to say, would you like a menu? Right, and it's funny, but the question that had a 100% chance of success literally 10 seconds ago, 10 meters ago, now has a 0% chance of success. Imagine me asking you, we've just sat you down at the table, would you like a table? That's just done, right? So now in that sort of interaction, that's a fairly well-known, understood purchasing funnel, if you like. I don't actually buy anything until I've eaten my food. Right, so on that basis, we all know what's going to happen. Now, in the marketing world, if we were to take segmentation and just look at it like that and say, right, okay, forget what I think I know about you. Your explicit data, forget that for a moment. We're going to actually build up a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to say, right, first thing that anybody needs to know, do you want a table? Right, okay, so it's me asking questions. And so my first segment that everybody starts in, because I haven't got any other implicit segmentation, would be new to brand. Let's just assume nobody knows our name. Or perhaps actually, let's assume that nobody knows what we're famous for. So our objective in that first segment is to just get you to know what we're famous for. We're famous for this, that, or the other. Brilliant. Once you've shown engagement in that, let's move you into a segment which is now, okay, they know what do we want to do now? Well, we want them to look at a specific destination or a specific cruise or whatever it may be. Okay, cool. So what will we do to do that? Well, let's start using offers. Now, everybody thinks when I'm talking to them about their email marketing strategy, offers are a dirty word. They're not. They're excellent. They're a key part of any strategy. It's just it can't be the only strategy, and it's got to have some meaning behind it. So if I'm sending you offers, then it's a great thing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Norwegian fjords. Oh, I'll have a look at that. Okay, brilliant. So we're now here. So you've moved from new to brand, or didn't know what we were famous for, into actually, let's see what they're interested in, into, oh, now we've got that kernel there. Now everybody else stays here at the front of house until they move to the table. Once they move to the table, they then get a menu. Once they've had the menu, we see what they're interested in, and then guess what? We go away and we deliver their food, and then we take their money.
So I guess what you're saying is it's about asking questions to your database, and the answers they give you all of a sudden expand your data, gives you even more knowledge on them.
Correct. And the thing is, you don't actually have to ask. You just observe. In that same restaurant analogy, you've got a male and female sign on the toilet doors. I don't have to ask which one are you. It'd be a bit creepy to sit and watch which door you go through, but that action would tell me what I need to know. So by placing content in front of people. Now, one thing to be very careful of, and I see this a lot in the industry, is overburdening emails. The more I say, the less I get. The more I say, every word beyond the 10th word devalues the previous set. So the classic is say less. 50 offers is not as good as 2 offers.
Okay.
So,
and that's just to go on from, that's why it's been so important, the work we've done in terms of the segments and building them up behind the criteria behind them to create those segments. Who's interested in, I don't know, articles that, if they've read articles on our website around the Mediterranean, are they interested in this specific cruise line? There's different criteria that will make that segment build out itself and continuously build without having to ask that question directly, because they're giving us the answers without actually saying anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that because it's about, as I said before, asking questions to your database or observing the database to look at the more learnings from them. I want to touch on something you said about frequency, because we come back to that last question of the quiz we just did. People are inundated every single day with emails. So it's a thin line to walk from an effective email marketing strategy to one that just bothers them and just gets on their nerves. So is there like a hard and fast rule that people should follow in terms of frequency and deliverability?
Yeah, there's a rule of thumb. I mean, it's everything's how long's a piece of string, but the reality of it is there is a rule of thumb. And that rule of thumb is if you're starting from today, so I can imagine most marketers out here, unless you are performing some sort of regular email marketing program, you need to be looking at the date last opened. That's a good indicator, okay? But if you have observed no web interactions, then Microsoft say that, well, hold on, let me just roll back a little bit actually. So one of the indicators of how engaged you are is the last open day. Brilliant, great. But that's the base tier of engagement. Beyond that, you have, when was the last time you looked at our website? So I might open Groupon's emails, for example, but when was the last time I went on their website? Years ago, probably. Does that mean I'm engaged? No, it just means I had a quick look. So now, if I do find myself on Groupon's website, and I find myself looking at that content, that's when the cadence increases. So typically, in that scenario, 14 days after the web activity, you should have reached them 6 times. So 6 emails in 14 days as a minimum, if they've been to the website. If they've not engaged with you on the website but have opened your emails in the last 30 days, you should be somewhere 1 or 2 a week, which isn't that far away from 6 in 14 days. But and then anything beyond 90 days, you've got to be questioning how often really do I need to speak to this person? You know, it's maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks or something like that. Ideally, it's about trimming the volume down to be focused on these guys. The ones that have been on your website in the last 14 days are the ones we should be talking to because there's something there. A little bit less those that are engaging with our emails, and then even less those that don't even open them. Nice balance.
Just to go on from us, from the world of cruising side, that's why the segmentation side for us is so important, because we send a lot of emails, so it's making sure that we're not just sending. When I joined a couple of years ago, we were sending everything to everybody. Now we're breaking that down and we're allowing the user to choose what they want to receive. Some may get more than others, but it's because they've actually selected what they want to be included in. So we have to do that work. It's imperative that we do, because we want users to be engaged, but we don't want to be just bombarding everyone with random content.
Yeah. So how do we go about that segmentation? I mean, what are sort of the starting points to kind of enacting that personalisation strategy?
So we've got the criteria. The user can update their preferences, so they can log in. We've created the preference center within Force that they can actually log in and they can say, yeah, I want to receive your top 10 oceans, or I want to receive your Mediterranean deals, or what are the different segments that they can actually be in themselves. But also it's important to use that criteria that creates the segment. So who's actually, as Adam mentioned about on your website, so that's linked into Force, so we can see users that are going onto the Mediterranean section, the Caribbean section, wherever it is within the website. They're engaging with that content, whether it's editorial, they're looking for inspiration, they want to learn about the Caribbean, they're reading the articles that we've got on the site. We can see that. We can see they're engaging with that editor. If they're generating a lead, we can see they're generating that lead. So it's building those segments and continuously updating them and continuously seeing who's engaging, and if they haven't for a while, do you know what I mean? Is it the right content for them? Is it the right segment? So just managing and monitoring those closely. Sure.
There's obviously a lot of work goes into building out this strategy. There's a lot of constant monitoring, as you said. And a lot of watching the audiences and seeing what their behaviours are in order to refine your data and refine your strategy. Many people don't necessarily have the time or resource to do that. So how does a company like Force24, how can you guys be an assistant to cruise lines, to travel agents, to help them sort of guide them through that process?
Yeah. Truth is, Rich, you've got your feet on the desk most of the time. The system's doing it. No, not taken away from what the team here do. It's whilst sat there today, it kind of feels like there's a lot of work there. Actually, no, it's not. These are fire and forget automations. That's the point about segmentation. The segmentation should just be there. Same with reporting for us. It's like it should just be on or off. It's not drilling into things. I should just have the answer. So where really the biggest problem that we see is that a lot of marketeers tend to look at their data today and what they've got today and then assume that that's all they can work with, and then don't build an onward strategy from today to how do I make that better. And as I've said already, it's the implicit stuff that drives the conversions. So what Force24 does is we provide you with a set of tools that means that you can set some simple conditions based on what pages people are looking at or when they last did something or whatever. You basically save it and that's it. Your segments are then alive, and as people start to pop up here, they move from there and then they pop up over there. And then so your segments are just alive and they're constantly evolving. So you're not touching it, the system's doing it. But the bit that actually we are most proud of really is actually not software. It's the fact that I know how difficult it is to go from what I'm doing today in a busy commercial environment where I've got to get leads in, we've got to sell stuff. It's as simple as that. And so I've got to now break everything, put a new system in and start doing new stuff. It's like, no. So what we did was we said, look, every single customer should benefit from having somebody that's already done this 100 times. So everybody in our support team's done their 10,000 hours. And, so when a customer comes to us, as Rich, you'll know, you've got a great relationship with all of the guys on the floor that will basically just hold your hand and do most of this process for you so that you can pretty much carry on doing what you're doing until you're ready to swap. And that's the bit that I'm most proud of. The software is cool. I love it. It's amazing. But the bit that I'm really proud of is the teams of people that have done their 10,000 hours. They've held at least 100 people's hands through this path. So you're going to be probably no different. And it's a lot quicker than trying to do it yourself, which is where a lot of marketeers find themselves just ending up sending loads of spam because they've got the power of automation on their side.
Well, we've covered a lot of concepts in this first episode. I mean, personalisation, deliverability, segmentation, automation. Before we finish, can you, Adam, give me an example either from the travel space or in a completely other sector, from brands that you work with? Give me an idea of what that kind of holistic strategy looks like, from that kind of looking at the entire marketing funnel. What does someone who's really got this nailed down, and how you kind of work, they've nailed the partnership with you guys, how does that look? And give me an example of where cruise lines and travel agents could aspire to get to with Force24.
You know what? I'm gonna pick. I could pick World of Cruising because they're or Real Response because they sat right here next to me, but I'm not actually. I'm going to pick the bloke that's sat over there. Sam Holmes, from within our own marketing department. Obviously our own marketing department do some pretty cool stuff, but actually I'm most proud of them because really we went through a marketing reform in the last few months and they've sort of come out the other side with some really cool stuff. And what they're doing is as I've said before, they've taken the marketing funnel, not the sales funnel, they've taken the marketing funnel really seriously, and they've created the segments around this new to brand, people that don't know what we're famous for, people that understand what we're famous for but haven't really engaged with our content before. Now they've engaged with this, we understand what their big problem is, now we'll move them to this. And so I think that they've developed a really smart strategy that's tied in beautifully with our sales team, that really delivers a material impact into our organisation. So it's a case study that I'm really proud of and I'm really pleased. Of course, these guys do pretty good too.
Yeah. And I'd go on from in terms of the partners that we're working with, because of what the work we've done behind the scenes, the segmentation, making it right. We're now in a position where we've got partners coming to us that are working closely with us because they're not just going to everybody, they're going to the right people, they're seeing the right engagement, the right conversions, and then it's working well for partners. So we're doing something right.
Yeah, and like as anything, you've got to put the effort in to get the plate spinning. Because once they're spinning, you just let the work do itself.
That's the dream.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We've touched upon loads already. those of you who are listening or watching, stay tuned. Episode 2 will be with you shortly, and we're going to be joined again by Rich and Adam. We look forward to seeing you there.